Our goal is simple: to help you achieve the dream and vision you first had when you thought about starting a business. We're here to make growing your business less complicated. There are building blocks to build a sustainable business. We promise to seek them out and address them all. The Better Your Business Show starts now.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Natalie, a financial strategist and your host, and I want to welcome you to the Better Your Business Show. My beautiful co-host, Shanna Mavis, with us this morning.
Good morning, everyone. So happy to be here. Excited about what we have today. We've got some great questions. Oh, is it dance party time? Is it dance party time?
Carlton just likes our dancing, apparently. I know it, Carlton. It's all right. It's all right.
Today is worth dancing about, though, because I've got a whole bunch of questions for our expert. As you know, we're really working on business owners bettering their business. You know, that's one of the things that we talked about right before the show. How do we do this? And with his expertise and, cost reduction for businesses, that's going to be, beneficial for anyone trying to build or grow or maintain a business. We're looking at sustainability. You've got to factor in, how do I make more money or how do I cut my costs without necessarily getting rid of your people. So I'd love to talk to, I'm excited to talk to him about that and find out more of how business owners are able to make these decisions. What do they need to be factoring in? How do we know when it's time to make these changes in our business? So yeah, super excited for him.
Me too. Me too. We were speaking this morning because it made me think of just our own finance, our personal finances. How often do we step back and take the time to see where are we overspending in our own finances? And it's probably just a fraction compared to what we're spending in our businesses. So I thought, if we're not doing that with our own finances, how many people are doing that in their business? And how much money are they waste? I don't want to say wasting, but mistaken repurposing, right? By taking the time to look at that. So it's very intriguing. When we were speaking with Carlos, I was like, oh, this is good. I like this. So yeah, let's bring him in. So we have Carlos McCain. He's with the Definitive Cost Reduction Group. He's been a financial strategist for 26 years. And basically he helps people reduce the costs in their business. So if we can go ahead and bring him to the screen. Mr. Carlos McCain.
Good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing?
We're doing
awesome.
Awesome.
Happy that you're here with us bright and early on a Monday morning so we can talk about how we can save money.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
It's one of my favorite subjects. I don't know about you, Shanna.
Well, I knew you were geeking out on it because it's like, oh, money's involved. Yes. That is Natalie's, that's her thing right there. So yes, I'm interested in saving money, and especially for business owners. I really like that because when you said cost reduction strategies, one, make sure that you have a strategy for cost reduction, because otherwise you're going to get to a point where you're going to have to make some more difficult choices. So if you go into it with the mindset, hey, I'm trying to achieve this goal. Here's how I'm going to do it. And Natalie, you can speak to this from the personal side as well, as the business side. But going into this is going to be far better than being reactive down the line. So I really am interested in how you serve your community and the business owners that you work with. And, let's talk about cost reduction.
Well, absolutely. I mean, and you guys hit it right on the head. I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of times when we start businesses, we start with the mindset that, we're focused on, hey, we create a great solution. We got a great solution for a problem in society. And hey, I've got a great business idea. We do all the things that they've told us we need to do to get the business set up and running and to be profitable. And that's really our focus. And we don't take a lot of time to really focus on, number one, the sustainability side of it. And the key secret to sustainability, which is focusing on the cost immediately and long term. I think that's where a lot of companies fall short, and why, we have a rate where we're losing, business owners, I would say actually now about 76% of businesses are closing their doors within the first 10 years. So we're trying to prevent that, especially in the small to mid-market companies in that target or that segment. So again, I think focusing on the cost aspect of it and managing that is key. So
when do people typically reach out to you? Is it, hey, my back's far up against the wall, I'm scared of losing my business? Because I would think at that point,
right, when it's
not that it's too late, but you don't want to reach out at that point, right? So when do people, should it be like an annual review? Is this, something, hey, I see my financial strategist, my CPA, and Carlos?
Right. Well, I mean, I suggest we look at it not just once a year. Most companies do that right around August, September. They look at their budgets. They have their budget meetings to see how much money they have left for this year, and then the remaining, what they have set up for next year. I think that's way too late. We have to do more frequent checks on our costs that we're spending in our company. I recommend doing people once a month. So in that same vein, what you also want to do is make sure that a lot of people say when you start a business, you got to get an attorney. That's the best thing to have an attorney to help, make sure you navigate the way you have things set up. I think more important than that is having a good CPA and not a bookkeeper, but a CPA. And to make sure that CPA is aligned with the fact of what your vision is, what your goal is of your company. And then that way they can focus on the numbers and the financial side of it. We do get always being told, you need to know your business numbers, your company numbers. Yeah, that's great. But we also need to know, and your CPA needs to know what those numbers are. And they need to be your big brother, so to speak, to make sure that you're in line with your budgets and things. And I said monthly is a pretty frequent, I would say, to do that, to be sustainable long term.
I love that. I really honestly did not expect you to say monthly, but if we were speaking about our own finances, personal monthly is like, yeah, you better be looking at a monthly, right? So I don't know why I thought yearly, maybe even quarterly. So that's very interesting. I have a friend that does credit card processing. And it is always very intriguing to me because she'll show me some of these businesses that she helps, and she'll save them $7,000 to $10,000 all the time. Like, it blows my mind how much money she saves them.
Yes.
And I think that's just one aspect. I'm sure you're probably seeing $7,000 to $10,000 being lit on fire in many different areas. Easily.
Like I said, we have 144 contracts and companies that give us their service at no cost, what have you. But it helps reduce costs, and those contracts cover about 200 different aspects of a business where you can save money. And a lot of times business owners don't realize there's areas that they can save money. It came to fruition with me. I started working with, it's about 2 years ago. I started working with a pretty famous boxing manager. It was actually Muhammad Ali's manager, trainer, Henry Grooms out of Michigan. And he's 87 years old at the time. And I watched this guy put together a professional event, which these events are like $40,000, $50,000 easily. I saw him put together the entire event with zero money out of his pocket. It was just amazing to me. And it just says, the day and era of bartering is still alive and effective today. So when you think about that, and I think, again, the first step is really knowing with your CPA what your company's numbers are now, what your profits and things like that is great, but also cash flow. We see a lot of companies fall short there. And being able to identify that first and then find strategic partnerships to help continue to reduce your costs. Because, again, I think a big part, too, why I say monthly is because it's almost like the old Six Sigma, how you would get together for Six Sigma. You gather people together in a room and, to find out this problem or resolve this problem. And, 6 to 9 months later, you've got this room full of ideas, processes laid out, and now you got the solution 9 months later. Well, we know now things change too frequently. You have to be agile. And that's why agile started coming into play now, is because things are changing so quickly now. You have to be able to change and pivot on a dime. And you need to take that idea and concept with your business as well. I apologize for that. So you need to have that concept as well, as be able to have the people in place, the partnerships in place, and everybody paying attention on a more frequent basis, so that when the industry changes, whatever your industry is, you are able to change with those times as well and navigate, keep ahead of the curve. So that's why I think the monthly checkup is more appropriate for most businesses.
So, Carlos, have you noticed that certain areas, you said there are certain areas that business owners don't realize that where they can reduce costs. Is it industry by industry? Have you noticed some consistent areas, like let's say technology or real estate, or are there specific cost areas that people need to be looking at in certain industries that you could call out that might help someone watching?
And I'll talk from the perspective of, let's talk about employees, because we know you really do have to have employees as well.
They are trying to get in touch with you, Carlos.
I know, are they really? Really, it is actually. But at the end of the day, you really have to. Well, let me step back, because for 15 years with Citigroup, I was a 401k wholesaler. So I went and I met with business owners. I met with financial advisors who brought me out to meet with their companies. And what I would first do was find out the needs of that company. And what I found a common theme was, if you were a one-person company all up to 1,000 employees, everybody was still looking at the situation where they're looking to save money, number one, but the point where they're looking to grow and they're going to add 1 or 2 employees, what they were finding as some of the problems was, when they invested in technology, they started eliminating people. Okay, that to some extent did save money, but you still need people there even to run the technology. So what we started seeing was they didn't have enough things in place to retain those employees, and with the cost that they were overlooking was the amount it cost them to actually train those individuals. So it was very costly for a lot of companies, regardless of the size of the industry, that when you bring a person on and you train them for 3 months, 9 months, whatever the case, a year, and the cost behind that, and then have that person leave for something other than 25 cents more to your competitor, or this company has benefits and you don't. That cost of retraining someone else, it was something that a lot of companies were blindsided by. And that was one of the things that we did to really show them the cost behind that and the time spent behind that. So it was very eye-opening. Yeah.
So then, I would think that's an easy 6 figures.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm not going to notice it, but that's very, very interesting. That's the beauty of retention, that long-term investment.
Absolutely.
So then do you work with them to create the plan or the strategy, or is that where someone else comes in that just says, hey, you've got to retain them. We can do, XYZ. And you and Natalie talked about specifically like 401ks, like you said, employee benefits. What's going to make them want to stay here? Because there's always going to be someone offering something more attractive, a little bit more money, or this perk or that perk. So does your company work with them to create the programs that will help them stay, or do they need to bring in another expert?
No, we actually will work with them on the entire package. Yeah, we're going to take a holistic look at their entire company, their industry. We do a deep dive even on their competitors, what they're doing. And then we look, even more granular with their specific processes and what they're doing. And we will bring in people if necessary. But at the end of the day, we have a good group of people who've already found a lot of solutions over the past 6 years that we could pretty much, handle a lot of the cost reduction steps that they'll need to take once they come on board with us. And that's from, setting up a corporate retirement plan to be able to put money away, for employees, which they want, and retain those employees. Also, we found a way to even for business owners that spent a lot of time, building the company and didn't put away for their own retirement because they're putting money back into the business. There now is ways for the IRS to allow them to catch up on those contributions by doing even more than what's allowed, in your normal 401k, for example. So we do that holistic approach, and we do it from that all the way to, you've got a storefront and you're spending X amount of money on maintenance. We're able to even help reduce from that standpoint, because that's another cost a lot of people don't itemize out, but it's one of the bigger loss along with payroll. So
it does. I was trying to pause to see if Natalie was going to ask a question, because I have lots of questions around.
Absolutely.
Well, because I think about a lot of businesses will end up cutting people, right? And it just seems like that should be last resort. It seems like there's got to be so many different things that you can do, because like you said, you're going to need people. Bottom line, you're going to need people to run your business.
Right.
But it seems like that's where most of that's where they go first, is we're just going to lay off a whole bunch of people, and we're making just some very terrible, in my opinion,
Right.
business decisions. We're spending money. We're just, flying people all over the world to,
Right.
on Hail Marys, when we could potentially cut that out, keep these people, restructure the way that we're doing our
Right.
business. It just,
Well,
so,
you are seeing that quite a bit now. That's a very good point. You are seeing companies trying to retain employees and put efforts towards that even more. Because again, when the technology came out and there was even business cuts, that made it more advantageous for them to implement, new technology. A lot of them were cutting people, but that's slowly starting to wane away from that. And people are trying to retain employees. They see the value of that and the loss from a training perspective. But now you got this little thing that's happening where the generations that's coming into the workforce now aren't necessarily your long-term tenure type of employees. They're not in that mindset at all. So you find what we call contract hoppers. You find people want to come onto the company 1-2 years and go to the next company, get a guaranteed 2 years there, and they do the 2 years and they jump into another one. So it's very hard on the business owner to continue to scale and grow when they have employees doing that. So it's a situation now where, actually staffing is one of the key industries that's growing quite a bit now because we do have that mindset. But there are some solutions out there for business owners to try and retain these employees. And it is surrounding the area of employee benefits, corporate benefits that are being offered, and quality ones that are there. The hurdle for most business owners when trying to implement that, once they realized that, was that the cost behind these employer benefits was just astronomical.
right.
Nowadays, there are solutions. I've built entire benefit packages for companies that cost the company zero. They were able to offer that to the employees, able to advertise it, to really attract employees. So there are some changes taking place. There always are around employer benefits that can help retain those employees that are looking for that, instead of looking for big bonuses and things like that. So traditionally, which is what they were looking to do. So
yeah, or even if the business can't put in employee benefits, and at least having someone come in once a month where they can talk to their employees, at least offering opportunity of, hey, at least we're giving you the resource, because the employee, I don't think, really cares either way. The bottom line is just that they're getting their needs met. And if they're getting their needs met, they're going to be a better employee to you. They're going to want to stay with you longer term too. Because I think about, well, just like you said, right? We're thinking about, it's got to go both ways. Like, what are we both bringing to the table? I think that now, being self-employed with some of the networking groups and stuff like that I'm a part of, we can all be replaced. That's just the bottom line. So we both have to be bringing something to the table. It can't just be one-sided, whether it's employee or it's just me working hard, not taking time off, whatever that is, right? It needs to go both ways.
Oh, absolutely. I definitely agree. And you're finding that more and more now. It's one of those deals, even, when you're looking at it as a, I guess, solopreneur, so to speak, many of the issues and things, you're still having the same scenario as some of these larger companies. But we do help, on that side as well. And even just talking about the employer benefit side, and you hit it right on the head, is a lot of employees, when they are with a big company and they join the 401k plan, they love it. That was one reason when they came over, the benefits. But a lot of times they don't see the advisor or the people educating them maybe once a year, if that. So they're kind of left to their own devices to try and figure it out. I've shown business owners where that can hurt, participation in the plan. And of course, if someone's not using it, it's not a benefit. Now they're thinking about, well, let me go over here to this other competitor who's paying $1 more. When you have the perfect vehicle to keep them, without losing them because of that expense, you just have to continue to educate. And that's why one big part of it in that space is, the fiduciary responsibility of the companies to properly educate their employees. And that's one thing that we look at. We work with companies that have a arm or a vehicle to not just set up a 401k and say, hey, here's it used to be forms, but here's a website, fill it out. If you need help, call this advisor that's on our plan. Now we're like, okay, well, let's set it up. You're eligible. Now we're going to have someone come and sit down with you, an actual counselor, to talk about your specific situation, okay, and tailor something custom for you. those are having more traction, and those employees are happier employees. They're retained, they're staying longer with the company, and it just reduces the cost over time for that employer. So, and that service, believe it or not, is something that can be gained at no additional cost as well. A lot of people don't realize that. So, but there are programs that can help that.
Yeah, you're throwing out a lot of no cost things,
Yes.
Carlos.
Yes. Yes.
I'm loving that. And I think a lot of business owners that are watching this will love that as well, because that's one of the things that we all struggle with, especially starting out.
Oh, absolutely.
There's not enough money for everything. And you're talking employee benefits, and many business owners really just getting started or within the first couple of years are not thinking about benefits as a means of retention or as a means of anything because of how much cost is involved. But I think what I loved is that you show them, or at least my understanding is that you're showing them going into this, it's far more costly for you to have to train and retrain and retrain. You're just preparing someone for their next job instead of trying to keep them there at yours.
Exactly. Exactly right. And as you get, when you're starting out with some of the smaller companies, you do have that one business owner that's wearing multiple hats. So the one area that they also falter on a little bit is their processes they have in place. We see a lot of gains when we sit with companies that are smaller. It could be one, two people, and just establish their processes they're using. If they're using outside vendors or they're 1099 employees, whatever the case may be. But when they focus on that, they see the cost savings aspect of that. And a lot of it is time. I always tell the owners, you have to dollarize your time. You have to put a dollar amount on the value of your time because it is costly. And the reason I tell them that too is because everyone, and we have the mindset in our country that, hey, the CEO is the pinnacle. This is exactly where we want to be. But there's another level above that a CEO should be striving for. And it's called a CVO. Chief Visionary Officer. Because you have to be a visionary. It's your vision. You get everything started. You work it up as a CEO. You've got people running your company. They're managing everything like they should, the departments, the operations, the processes, and you're a great CEO. But if you just sit there and not think about the next step, if you're not agile, so to speak, then you're going to fall into a Blockbuster versus Netflix scenario. Blockbuster saw this streamline coming and said, no, we're too big. We've got this for years. But then by the time they realized that, hey, we need to get into this, it was too late. They joined the online, but it was way too late. Netflix had it. So you have to be a visionary as a CEO and see the next step for your industry and where it can go next. And it's beyond that 5-year exit strategy as well. It's got to be more than that. How do we differentiate ourselves? How do we go in a different market? How do we have strategic partnerships that'll help us overall scale up, but at a low cost or no cost? Because it's doable. I've seen it with my eyes.
Definitely. I love how you keep going back to strategic partnerships because I think that's so important. Can we let's talk about that a little bit? I like to think that Shannon and I are strategic partnership. We're here with you right now. That's a strategic partnership, right? I Do Systems. Everything that we're doing is all strategic partnerships. And
absolutely.
We're actually, someone put in there, I don't think we post it? There was a question. It was, what should entrepreneurs that are bootstrapping their business keep in mind, need to know, or always think about? And so I think strategic partnerships
is
a big one.
Yes. And strategic part. And I said earlier, like I said, Henry Rooms did that $40,000 event with zero money. And it was all about strategic partnerships. I mean, if you look at all the other industries that your industry will touch, and you go talk to those business owners and find out a little bit of some of their needs and realize that your product more likely has some type of solution for them, then you just sit down and negotiate. You have an understanding that, hey, I'm here. We both have this issue. We can solve for each other. All right, let's move the needle for both of our firms by forming this strategic partnerships, and then we're able to scale and go from there. So I just think, taking that step is really, it's almost like you gotta have the courage to do that. A lot of people are, unfortunately, the last 10 years, our newer generations and new business owners are stuck on their electronic things and they're not really talking to people. But you really have to reach out, speak to people about what their goals are, find out how you can plug in and go from there. Those strategic partnerships will definitely help you keep your costs low.
Definitely.
Yeah, I agree. And you also have to have humility, less of an ego. And it
Yes.
cannot be about you. It's got to be about who you're
100%.
serving. And that's where those partnerships, and yeah, Natalie, that's the reason that we're together. That's the reason we're bringing this show out there. That's the reason ESC exists, is to make sure that,
Right.
yeah, I mean, I knew that that's
Yep.
where, when you said that, it was just like, yeah, you're spot on, because there's this huge group of people who their desire is to help business owners. That's all. It's not about what my service is, because my service may not be the best service for you right now in this stage of your growth, right? It may be that you need to talk to a Natalie, or you need to talk to a Carlos, and maybe I'm not even the one for you, but I know a whole bunch of people who can help you grow your business. And I want you to, it's about that vision.
Yeah. Well, or the other thing I think of too, just with these strategic partnerships, is I might not even like you like that. You know what I mean? Like, I think about that all the time. As we're doing things, I was talking to somebody and she goes, well, I don't want other people talking to so-and-so. And I said, well, for myself, I do. Like Shanna, when even just looking at the show, not everybody's watching the show to see Natalie as much as I'd like to think I bring that value. Some people find me quite annoying, I'm sure, and love to hear from Shanna, and vice versa, right? That's the value. That's the value of the partnerships, right?
Right. Yeah, that's true. I mean, you make a very good point. I had some dialogue with another partner the other day about this, is that, we're all trying to do business here. There's going to be partnerships that are going to make a good fit from every aspect, what we're offering as businesses, and there's just chemistry there, and that's going to work. But a lot of times that's not the case. At the end of the day, a lot of times we have to do business with people we don't like to get it and go. And if we're mutually understanding, then that's okay. That's okay. It's okay to do business with people you don't like. In a sense, that happens. You're not going to do business in a perfect world. Yes, you'll be able to do business with everybody you love. You love what they're doing and what their morals and things are about, but it's not going to happen that way. So we just have to, like I said, not have an ego, just understand the priority of that business and keep moving forward from that standpoint. But very
That's
good.
Right.
I love what
Kayvon
is saying. Yeah.
My grandma used to say that to me. I love you, but I don't like you right now.
Right. It's funny you say that too, because like in my history, I went to be a financial advisor with Smith Barney at the time, and the guy that kind of convinced me to leave where I was to go there, he said, hey, like, I'm going to bring you over. I know you're just starting out. You don't have a book of business because it's new, but I'm going to partner you with this corner office guy, and he's going to help you out. And he's going to do it. Okay, that's great. That's great. So go there. And, that guy said, yeah, I hear you say, but it'd be better for you if you just did it on your own for a year or two and prove yourself, and then you could partner. I was like, okay, that's new. Now I've already decided that I've signed the contract and I'm driving an hour one way, which is going to be temporary. But I say, okay, you know what? That's fine. The partnership is there. I'll learn from him and we'll go from there. But at the end of the day, that partnership was, let's just say, it was very beneficial because he didn't want to do business with me, but I ended up in a very short period of time doing like $8 million. And then all of a sudden it was like knocking on the door. Hey, can we do partnerships? And I'm like, I think I'm good. We're good. But that's what you have to really decide. You have to really look at your businesses and your partnerships, and realize there are partnerships that you definitely need. That again, it may not be with the best person. You may not see eye to eye. That's fine, but it could be enough to give you what you need and then move it on your own. And then look at other partnerships, because there are other partnerships that are out there as well to help you with that.
Definitely. Awesome. And with that, we are going to go into a quick commercial break. Go refill your coffee. We'll be right back.
All right.
First, you have to come to that equation. Do I want to do this by myself and just make money? I can tell you there's no one person registered company on the stock exchange, Fortune 500 company. If you say that, and for those of you who might be listening who believe, well, I did it. Okay. That means you are a master at the legals of business development. You understand all the law around business. You understand everything around CPAs, accounting, bookkeeping, tax law, marketing, social media, tech development, communications, management, HR policies, HIPAA laws. Just keep going down that list and just say, I mastered all those things. If you did, you're a vampire and you've been on this planet for over 700 years. If not, you're fooling yourself. One of the two.
First of all, we are fooling ourselves. So I'm not even gonna let that slide. We are fooling ourselves when we think we can do it all.
When I see, ESC, I see community, I see connectivity, I see from the business owner and from those who are involved that, you don't have to do it alone.
It's a safe place where I know that we have the same goal and vision, and where our intent is to help people. That's what we're going for first and foremost, and whatever happens is the results of that, but our goal is to help people first.
I think the core values is each component of that's coming to the table here. Each brand is a core value of ESC.
It's a joining together of everybody.
Do what our job is, support each other, and be business partners to each other. To me, that's priceless. When Mike said, I've been waiting for this for the 12 years, I'm with you, Mike. I feel like this is the moment that all this is built up is to this moment. And so it's just super exciting. So.
If people are looking for solutions, they're wanting to go into one place to support them in all kinds of different areas. And I see this as being revolutionary.
It's just going to benefit so many people in such a profound way.
There's a huge benefit across the board in ways that we don't see, but we all benefit when we all succeed.
I see a new beginning. I see fertile ground for entrepreneurs.
This is a group of people that is coming together to make that happen and then to multiply that. So yeah, we need you. We need everybody to be part of this.
And we're back.
We're back.
All right, Carlos, I have more questions for you.
Bring them on. Love it. We love questions.
Now, I love that the two commercials that we just played, those two little ads, because you talked about that many business owners wearing all of the hats when they first start out, and that was one of my favorite discussions with Carlton, because it was just like I don't see how they can avoid it, and then we put together the team course that shows people how they can avoid wearing all of the hats in their business. So there's a solution for that. But when I was thinking about the cost of training employees, you mentioned that that's one of the highest costs to train and retrain or what have you. Is there a strategy or can that the reduction of that cost, there has to be some way to make that cheaper?
Absolutely.
Because in some industries, you're like baristas are going to go from place to place, coffee shop to coffee shop, potentially, right? But is there a way that if you were working with a coffee shop that you could go in and say, okay, you're going to have this, we can't avoid them leaving and going to Starbucks or going to the next coffee shop that opens up that's close to them or what have you.
Right.
But we can reduce the cost for what it costs for you to train them. Is that possible, or is that something that you explore?
Yeah, we do. As a matter of fact, we even go one step further. Before we even get to the point of actually training, we go just before that. Before they even walk through the door, we work with business owners to find out, okay, this is the role that you need for this position. Okay, so what criteria are you looking for in this individual? So, over years, and I've been in corporate America for 25 years now, and I've taken multiple personality tests and things like that. I partner with one now that I'm hands down is probably the best one ever. They have, it's eerily scary how accurate they are. But what we've done now is establish, or we'll go in and tell a company, okay, this is the role you're looking for. Okay, show me your ideal employee that fit that role. Great. We're going to take that employee and we're going to now fit a couple of criteria that we use. We're going to build that employee. And then when you start looking for those employees and hiring those employees, you're hiring specific to that demographic, that person, that mindset. And what that does is gets an employee that's there that can do the job, they're happy because they're successful doing the job. It takes very little to train them. They pick it up and they're happy over long term when you add other benefits. So that's going to help create that sustainability you need in that employee and reduce costs overall.
I like that. It's almost like a buyer persona for when you think about marketing. You know, you put together your ideal buyer, and that's who you speak to. That's who you. So I love that. That's the tactic. That's the part of the strategy is to understand who your ideal employee is.
Right.
Because
that's
just
important.
because they have a pulse does not mean that you should hire them. And a lot of business owners, you're laughing, Natalie, but that is what a lot of business owners will do. Is just bring anyone in. I'm so desperate. I need someone to work this. And so I'm going to hire the first person that walks in the door and you know, isn't this or isn't that.
Exactly. And we've shown business owners where, hey, you get that strategy that you're using. You're going to bring a warm body in and fill that. Okay, great. Look at the cost behind that. All right. Now look at the cost when they've left after a year. They encourage you. Now look at the cost it's going to have if you just did a little extra up front to find out that ideal person and then put them in the right place. And now that person sticks and stays along. So even if they would leave after 2 years or 3 years, but guess what? The rate of return or return on investment, you're on the black right now. So that's when we help. We get very granular in that scenario to really help business owners see the cost savings analysis, and it helps with their decision making as well. Because as business owners, we're always told you got to know your numbers to let the numbers help make you make the decisions. The issues that we see a lot of times is business owners will go to first, second level, maybe third level of that onion, not realizing there's about 7 more levels we should peel back from the numbers and then look at what those numbers are telling us as far as the decision that's going to save us money long term.
Yes. And you know what I love about that? I think it's so important that there's another set of eyes looking at that. Because I'll tell you, when I was doing my business planning going into 2022, there were aspects I thought that I was going to cut out of my business. That I was very adamant, these things are what I'm going to shift, and these things are not what I'm going to shift. And I sat down with someone I was getting mentorship from, and we went over the numbers, and it was like, I'm in finance. The numbers didn't make sense. I had to completely shift the way I was doing things. But you still need someone else to look at it for you. But that was my other question for you, Carlos. Is how long does the typical employee stay with you anyways? Is it 2 to 3 years? Is that the average turnover?
Yeah, it's unfortunately dropped to about 2 or 3 years. Like I said, there's a lot of contract hopping because the newer generation is a different mindset. COVID didn't help, so to speak, that, we were doing about 400,000 new companies a year for 30 years up until 2020. Now, 2020, it was like 4.4 million. And then 2021, it was 5 million new businesses starting up. So it's the mindset of, hey, let me just start my own business from home. And that's what we get a lot of. But unfortunately, those numbers are still, 76%, are failing by year 10. But yeah, I mean, that's really why we need to do that. Yeah.
And there's going to be no exit plan for those businesses either, unfortunately.
Right. Because of the 2 years. Yeah, you're right. That is something that we also work with them as well. So let's look at your 5-year exit strategy. And, it's funny how you meet with them and they're like, yeah, I'm going to sell the business. Okay. You're going to sell your business. So let's start at the beginning. What's the name of your business? It's, Granlund and Son. Okay. Well, that's your family name. I'm not sure anyone's going to come and buy your business with the name. So it starts, we tell business owners, it really starts at the beginning with the name of your business as well. I know we get that mindset. Let's put our family name on it. And, do you want to work this forever? Are your kids going to work this forever? Are you sure they're going to work it forever? Because what they told me, they're not looking to do this. So that's some of the things that we look at with business owners, short term, where they are right now, but also definitely long term, when their strategy comes into play from that standpoint.
So I'm curious, you specifically called out a CPA.
Yes.
You said not a bookkeeper, work with the CPA. And, they have a certain level of expertise in accounting, general accounting practices. They can represent people in front of the IRS. There's so many things that CPAs can do, but why specifically are you saying partner with a CPA? And I say partner. In whatever sense that means, but they need to be so heavily involved in your business. Why is it that you're recommending that particular expert.
Right. Because we as a culture for years look at CPAs and say, okay, yeah, they just do taxes. That's what they do. And that's all I'm going to look at them. But they do so much more. Like in the past, there was so much more. Nowadays, it's even more so because CPAs have gotten smart and they had a couple of new law changes that made them diversify their business. So now they are business strategists. They are financial strategists and specialists. I've had 3 of them come to me as CPAs, and I literally rebranded them. And as you know, over a 3-year period, rebranding what they did, their doors opened up, and they're just their business are just incredible, which is why they're loyal to me and DCRG, and they help out quite a bit with DCRG. But yeah, you need to, and the secret in the financial world for years has been CPAs do hold the key to a lot of business owners. Thinking of it from a financial advisor standpoint, their goal is to get more business owners who are making high revenue with their company to invest into the market, right? So how do you get to them? Well, if you have a CPA that's meeting with them once a year and looking at those numbers and saying, okay, yeah, you're gonna have $100,000 in profits you're gonna have to pay taxes on. What are you gonna do with it? That's the limit. Most CPAs, and then they refer them back to their financial advisor. So you'll find bigger firms like your Morgan Stanley's, your Raymond James. They now have programs set up specifically for CPAs. We can share revenue now.
Yeah.
But the CPAs have got smart there too, and they know that they're being asked for their clients. So, it's a interesting battle to see back and forth how they're trying to gain the trust of the CPA. But at the end of the day, what I believe when I'm looking at strategic partnerships, even if it's a new partnership, I make it a principle and a practice. I'm going to come to the table with my palms down. I'm going to be giving you something before I say, hey, here's how I can benefit. And that, if you do that, a lot of times your relationships start out the right way, your partnerships start out the right way, and CPAs will start trusting you more, and they'll open up their book of business and clients because they've been for years and decades always being hounded by, let me have my client, let me talk to me about your client. I can help them. So it's one of those things where I always say you definitely want to go to CPA because that's changed our mindset about what CPAs are today versus before. Needs to change because they're very different now.
Is that how you meant the question, Shanna, or was it CPA versus a tax advisor? Or
Oh no, I meant it exactly as he answered it.
Okay.
Why that type of expert? Because we all believe. At least everyone here on the panel believe in the power of strategic partnerships and believe in the power of having experts alongside of you. And that's one expert that we're calling into, focus right now. And I just wanted to make sure that every business owner had an understanding of why you're recommending that they partner with a CPA, that they look into this as another option as they're beginning to make these decisions that are going to impact their business down the line. So who are you bringing alongside of you to help you grow? And 100%. Why would you do this? And so it was just like, hey, business owners, consider this path and consider meeting with someone right away so that you get a better understanding of what's going on. And you have someone who's looking at your business from that perspective, right? Because you can only focus on so many things as a business owner.
Absolutely. That's good. You get it right on the head. And that's why I deal with CPAs. I mean, they and it's not every CPA is the same either. You do have CPAs that are, they're on top of their craft. They're honing their craft is what I call it. You should be keeping on track of the new laws and things like that and apply it to your business and your clients all the time. I have 2 that are just spot on. Always on top of the new laws and things. And you have some that have been in it for a number of years, but they're just kind of stuck in that. They're just kind of doing the minimum to keep and they're fine with that. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that now the need is so great now with business owners, given the fact that changes are happening so quickly and they have to make decisions on a faster basis now because things are changing. The numbers are the key with helping that business decision. And being able to have the numbers below the first, second, third level, but even deeper than that, just confirms that what the right decision is going to be that's going to keep your doors open long term. And that's really why I said CPA is more important even than an attorney, to be honest with you. Nothing against attorneys, but yeah, my first one is I'm grabbing CPA first. Yeah.
I'm with you, Carlos. My CPA finds you quite annoying, I'm sure.
I always feel outnumbered with money people on the call.
Oh, no.
Well, Shannon, that's what you do, right? So you're like, I already know that game. But I'm not going to make big decisions without talking about what I'm doing first to my CPA. If I'm going to, buy an investment, buy an asset, do I need extra write-offs? What's my timeline of doing that? Because those things are going to impact things. Right. So I always have those type of conversations. Hey, next year, this is my intentions of what I'm going to do with this asset I'm purchasing, because again, it's all lines up, and I want to play things smart. I don't want to overpay in taxes, but I do want to show profit on my business because I do want to sell it at some point, right? Exactly. I've several times now. I never looked at it that way. I know I'm not the only one that walked into their CPA saying, hey, take me to the red line. We had a hard year in business, right. Whatever, all my write-offs. I know I'm not alone on that. But now what I've learned, right, is you don't want to do that if your intentions are to sell your business. Not a good idea, folks. Not a good idea, I guess, in general. Just kidding.
And one other thing, guys, I'll tell you too, and I don't mind people. I'm a very modest, humble guy, and very successful in certain areas. And people are like, well, how are you so successful? And I would tell them, and it's like, you just tell people that? I'm like, yeah, I have no problem telling you the secret. You're not going to work as hard as me, so I don't mind telling you. But another partnership that is very underestimated, is you guys maybe can relate, is, believe it or not, hairdressers. If you know a good hairdresser, and I'll tell you, when it's been around the industry for 20, 30 years, and you partner with them and you just talk to them, hey, from a consultant standpoint, you should, they know everybody. Yeah. They get all the inside information. They know the executive's wife and what they're going on. I'm like, wow. So I was fortunately, I partnered with one, been in the industry for 30 years, and I just knows everybody. And it's so easy. Oh yeah, let me make a call. Wow, really? And I find myself sitting in front of the board and stuff with different, people, simply because they had this relationship. So no, if you're looking for another relationship, don't underestimate hairkeepers or hairstylists, rather. They know it all. Barbers as well. So
yeah, you're absolutely right about that. My hairdresser, she knows everyone. And what I love about her, Michelle, hi. What I love about her is that she introduces people. And like, if I walk in and there are people I've never met, she introduces me to everyone that, because she's got it structured so, and we all love her, that it's worth the wait. So I know when I get there, I'm probably going to be waiting 15 minutes longer because someone needed something different that they just sprung on her. And she was like, oh yeah, sure. But she will introduce me to every single person in that, in the salon that day. Oh, wow. And she's talked to me about people that I should meet, talk to other people about me. Right. That is an amazing, I hadn't even really thought of it as a strategic partnership until you just said that, but you're spot on there.
Yep. And I basically took 3 of them out, not together. We were all separate, and said, hey, I'm going to take you out to lunch. Hey, look, here's what I offer. Right. This is what I do for people. It's very beneficial. This is what I do to different industries. And that's all I needed. Oh, great. Because they enjoy connecting people. And so that was all. In every industry is like, hey, I got someone that does this and this and this. And call Carlos, he can help you with that too. And I was like, okay. But, that's important. I would say do that. The other thing we touched on earlier too, guys, is associations. There are associations that are geared and focused on growing businesses. And it's great to get in that networking of those individuals because you're all kind of on one accord, even if it's growing your own business. I partner with someone here as well, here in Tampa. I'll give him a shout out. Andrew Ware, he's a great guy. But he just put on something called the CEO Experience. It was a tremendous event. It was out at the airport at PF Chang's. The owner of it is Tisdale. I think his first name, but he was Darden and those groups. But long story short, it was an event where there were business owners there, and there were genuine business owners. They were, they had an event last year, and it was one of those deals where you invited business owners, but you can, everybody their mother could come. They had kids and stuff there. But this year was like, no, if you're a business owner, all right, you're a business owner, your HR is fine, directors are fine. And when he got there and he did it, the feedback we received on it was like the quality of people that they couldn't believe it, like the amount of networking connections that they made there. So it was so much so that they tied it to Raymond James. It was a financial firm. And now they're going across country with it. And they just can't wait to get to, I think, Atlanta's next, Miami. It's almost like, hey, I'll be there. But those are the type of networking events you definitely want to do. So 2 parts of that. Make sure you get to networking events that are meaningful networking events. And then the ones when you're there, you got to know how to network as well. That's a big key. A lot of people just show up, pay everybody looks good. You think people come to, you got to, leave the fear at the door. You got to go with intention. Everybody's on the same intention. Let's make connections that help our businesses grow scale. So that's where we also have to focus on strategic partnerships as well as growing those.
Definitely. I love what Carl Tabron put, which is partnering with a person's title can be idle, being that it's a label. But partnering with a person's character is combining your business with the code by which they are programmed to perform.
That's 100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Love that. Makes a big deal. Big difference.
Yeah. And it makes me think too, even ESC, which we just played the commercial on, that's a great group to go network in. It's always a party in that group. I'll tell you, there's so much great things going on over there. Tons of giveaways for entrepreneurs. And I mean, I think I've said this a million times now, is there's just so much available to us, but it's us being open and to receiving to all the resources that we have out there.
100%.
So you go to groups like that, and you're going to have exactly what you talked about, Carlos, which is strategic partnerships that have been put thought into, want to help businesses. That's why they're there. They've already hit certain levels that things they've accomplished. They want to pay it forward. And so a lot of us, that's why we're in that group. It's like, how can we contribute? How can we contribute? So you go over to that group, people are just giving away stuff left and right. That's a good time. So join the group.
But yeah, there's a lot of those organizations and strategies that, I mean, it will just help you with your businesses and cost reduction. And I'll give you another one. We just signed a contract with. I'm not sure if you guys heard of a MEP. It's a multiple employer plan, or MUA.
I haven't.
Okay. The concept is this, as smaller companies, let's say we're just starting out, it's just us and our business, or 2 or 3 people. If we know we want to build a benefits package, we go to an insurance company and they are, say, yeah, I want to give insurance to my employees. Well, you're 3 people. The cost is going to be astronomical for the company and the employees because it's just 3 people. But take those 3-person companies and couple that with 1,000 other. Now you've got 3,000 employees. Then you go to the insurance company, and now they're saying, oh, we got 3,000 people, so we can give you great rates for your company and your employees. So this association is that. They're called MEPs or MUAs, and it just depends on what it is. MEP is more corporate 401k, MUA is more health. So that's one way to save money as a smaller company. But the other thing is, when you're networking with these organizations, I've seen financial advisors gain one of these relationships. Now, they're not easy to get, I will say that. But when you are the financial advisor and overseeing this organization with, like, say, 10,000 companies, and you offer benefits to them, I've seen a financial advisor's entire career made off of this one relationship. Because you have companies from all different types of backgrounds, industries.
I think we lost him.
Yeah, it's a growing type of organization you want to be a part of.
We lost him for a second, but
but
you're back.
Okay.
Esther MUA. You want to be part of those organizations.
Yes. Yeah, we have one now that's tied to a university where the business owners go through a certification program. And once they're certified, they're part of this organization. And we're just launching now all the products that can be offered to them, from staffing, from, advice, CPAs, things like that, and at a reduced cost. So, and that's going to keep growing. It's at 15,000 now, and it's going to continue to grow every year. So that would help from so many different, aspects. So
Awesome. Good stuff. Well, Carlos, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We got to talk about how to reduce costs in our business. Hopefully everyone wants to do that. They can find you on all social media channels if they want any more information from you. And we appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. And he's frozen again.
Yeah.
All right, Ms. Shanna, take away from today.
Yeah, I love the strategic partnerships, of course, because I think there was something that he said, bartering is not dead. But there's something to that it's not just about what I'm going to get, it's about what can I give. And it's truly us working together, like you and I, we bring the show, but outside of that, I know that I can trust, like Tehran said, I know I can trust your character. So when there's someone that I run into, it's just like, hey, I can't give you financial advice, but one of my partners can. You don't want me to give you financial advice. Let's put it that way. I still rely heavily on other people for that. So the strategic partnerships was something that was, really close to my heart. And just the cost reduction aspect of it, because I think reducing cost in any way that doesn't reduce people especially unless you don't need as many people, I guess is what I'm saying. But don't immediately go to, I've got to get rid of all of my people. Let's look at some of the other decisions that are being made in your business. Bring along the right experts, partner with a CPA or with, a firm like Carlos's, where that's where they're looking at is your business and focusing on helping you reduce the cost so that you can maintain those relationships and still grow a sustainable business.
Definitely. That was my biggest takeaway is we have to delegate those things if we want to grow. It's just the truth. So hopefully we find that right partnership to help us do that.
Yeah.
So awesome show. I love that. I love that with Carlos. I didn't know that people actually just go in and revamp the whole thing for you. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is. I've heard of firms similar to his, but one of the things that I loved about what he was saying is that many of these things are at no cost to the business owner. And when you're looking at it that way, that was the differentiator for me, because I know that there are firms that will go in and absolutely for thousands upon thousands of dollars will give you, here's exactly what you need to do. But you're spending all of that money that eventually you will save. And he's saying, hey, there's a different way of doing this. There are a lot of things that you can do at no cost to you that's going to impact your bottom line. And so, yeah, people need to really be looking into that.
That's right. Awesome. All right, everybody. Thank you to iDo Systems for today's sponsorship. Thank you to everyone who joined us today. Have a beautiful week, everybody. Do something today that your business will thank you for, and we'll see you Monday. Have a great week, everyone.